What's up NBA fans, Dom2K on the mic, and as you know, this is kind of a big year for basketball video games because NBA Live is making a return and I finally feel like I played enough of it to give an opinion on it. But before we get to that, I wanted to show you guys the Gridiron app for both iOS and Android. I'm pretty sure you guys remember the Hardwood Amino app for NBA that I introduced to you months ago. Well, this is almost identical to that, except it's for you diehard NFL fans. It basically mirrors the Hardwood Amino app in that you can take quizzes, make blogs and polls, chat with the community, and follow people. Of course, if you can follow people, you can make your own account just like I did, so if you're looking to follow me for the NFL season, you'll be able to find me at my usual handle of Dom2K. I think my favorite feature about the app would be the public chat rooms because when games are going on, it's fun to connect with people in real time to discuss what's happening. So if you need to take your anger out from a bogus call from the refs or you just want some general discussion, it can be a great thing for you. So head over to your respective app stores to get the app today or find them on your system with the links below in the description and in the comment section. I hope to see you there. So now let's switch back over to the NBA and discuss some NBA Live. If you weren't aware for whatever reason, this demo came out a few days ago, so you can play it on PS4 and Xbox, and I gotta say, for NBA Live, I'm actually kind of impressed. Now, of course, it's a bit easy to be impressed by an NBA Live game when you're comparing them to NBA Live because they really haven't made a good game this entire decade. The last NBA Live that I truly loved was NBA Live 2005, and a lot of people feel that way. About a year or two after that, NBA 2K really started to take over, and I think Live really faded into the background with the NBA Elite 11 demo. I'm not sure how many of you were playing NBA games back then, but if you remember anything about the Elite 11 demo, that's basically when NBA Live became a joke. That game got cancelled, they took a few years off and tried to come back with NBA Live 13, that game got cancelled, then they finally returned on the PS4 and Xbox One with NBA Live 14, 15, and 16, and yes, pretty much all of those games were laughingstocks. They skipped NBA Live 17, and now we're here with the 18 demo, and I don't think this one is gonna get cancelled. So being that we're gonna have two basketball games this year in 2K and Live, from the demo, is NBA Live 18 gonna be on NBA 2K18's level? Well, I hate to give a definite answer for that since NBA 2K hasn't even released a demo, and we're not going to get a full demo even when they do because it's just going to be the prelude thing for my career, and on top of that, they haven't even released a gameplay video. All we know is that the game is going to look pretty, which 2K normally does. So without any real information to go off of for NBA 2K18, I'm going to have to use what I know typically about 2K, and it's summed up in this next quote. 2K is simply way too sufficient in the places where Live is lacking, while Live isn't sufficient where 2K lacks. So yes, every single year that 2K has existed, there's always going to be problems with it, there's always going to be things that we hate about it. Even in my favorite 2K for NBA 2K11, they still had a problem with that spin animation that was basically unstoppable. But as I was playing the NBA Live 18, my thoughts were, you know, this is good for an NBA Live game, it's a step in the right direction, and they've definitely improved in some things, but they're still lacking in the areas that 2K is able to take advantage of. And the biggest issue that Live has is that they're very basic things that 2K has had for a long time that 2K has basically mastered. So right off the bat, one thing that comes to mind when you're thinking about these type of things are the player models. When you look at player models for NBA 2K17, no, all of them aren't perfect, because I remember when I first saw NBA 2K17's Kevin Durant, it definitely looked a little bit funny, but that is something that I've already seen they improved in NBA 2K18. Meanwhile, I look on the NBA Live 18 demo and the player models still are not up to par. Their bodies are looking a little bit funny, some of the players like Kevin Durant, you know, their face scan is just a little bit off. Meanwhile, when we're looking at 2K, they basically mastered this whole thing of photorealism in basketball games, so very few of those face scans aren't spot on and the body models have improved this year, and NBA Live 18 is still some steps behind in that regard. Another thing that's very basic where Live 18 just isn't going to touch 2K is the mechanics of the game. So one thing that immediately stuck out to me is the shooting form of the players in NBA Live, and I'm not going to sit here and act like that's just some cool feature that they have. It doesn't feel good. When you shoot the ball with someone in NBA Live 18, it feels like they're going through their shooting motion in steps. It's not really fluid, it's very stiff, and you know, it just kind of looks awkward on the screen. Meanwhile, in 2K, the biggest problem we really ever have with the shooting is trying to time the little green bar, whatever shooting meter they're using from year to year. Those are usually our problems, but we never look at 2K and go, hey, that form looks weird or the form is bad. You know, that's a very basic thing that 2K mastered a really long time ago. So the way the players move and even the pacing of the game, it feels really slow. Maybe there's something with the game speed, I'm not sure, but there's just something about when you're dribbling the ball up the court or you're moving around and running an offense, the players are moving just awfully slow. You don't even imagine that when you're playing on the court in real life that you're moving that slow. However, one thing that I need more time with is really just the game itself for NBA Live, because at first I didn't like the dribble moves and it feels really limited, but then I gotta remember that this is a total different style than NBA 2K, and that's something you need to remember when you're playing it too. NBA 2K is very animation based, and sometimes you even get stuck in certain animations, which is really annoying. NBA Live doesn't really have that feature where you're flicking the trigger and it's triggering a bunch of different animations. It's really more of a freestyle of gameplay. It's kind of hard to explain how it rolls. They're just two different styles, so I guess it's up to what you prefer right there. Now, what I do absolutely love with NBA Live over 2K is, I guess, what you would call their My Career mode. I've never been a fan of My Career in NBA 2K because the whole mode gets really stale after one season, and the damn cutscenes are just so cringe and corny. I have no clue who writes these stories or who acts these lines out and who thinks they're a good idea. But when you're playing 2K and your player just says things that you know nobody would say in real life, I have a hard time sitting through those cutscenes. I cringe like hell. But the story for NBA Live is really interesting, and it's a different take because this time you're a player that's gotten injured before the NBA draft, so then you have to spend time going around a lot of different parks, like you're on Venice Beach and then you got Rucker Park. To me, that's a lot more fun than what My Career has been doing over these last few years, because normally My Career has like one game that you got to play in a showcase, and then now they've changed a high school and college for a short time, but I enjoy this take a lot more. While I was sitting through it, I was really thinking, man, I really wish we could just combine 2K and Live, because Live always really has the better gear, and this My Career mode, I can't speak to past My Career modes, but this My Career mode looks like it's going to be really fun, but I just want it with more 2K style gameplay, because NBA Live's gameplay for me, it's still a little bit behind. And while we're on that topic, I understand that it's just a demo, but one big problem I was having is that my teammates really didn't seem too smart, and I'm really big on artificial intelligence. So while I'm playing in these modes through My Career, the players just don't seem to be too intelligent, and I'm big on that because I just got done roasting NBA 2K17 for the same thing. I didn't run into instances where they were just doing flat out stupid stuff, but the problem is they weren't aggressive at all. So I'm giving the ball to open players and they won't shoot the ball and they won't create and they won't move around that much. It just kind of seemed like I was passing to players and they were just waiting on something better to happen. And to me, if there was anywhere that NBA Live could capitalize on 2K, it would be with the artificial intelligence, because we found many examples in 17 where the intelligence just wasn't there. And speaking of that, I did run a quick game and I got into the Warriors and Cavs matchup because I wanted to see how the game handles when you're not just one player, because of course that kind of gameplay is different from 5-on-5. And that again, that's another place where I feel like they're gonna be behind 2K, because I'm expecting 2K18 to improve to go back to where they were, basically where the computer wasn't brain dead. And while I was playing Live, I just can't put my finger on it, but I think it's a collection of things I said earlier. So I don't like the pace of the game, I hate the way they shoot, and some things just look off. So I had an instance where I believe it was Kevin Durant blocking Kevin Love, and when he came over to block him, it really looked wacky and cartoonish, and it just didn't look like it does in 2K where you feel like you're playing a real basketball simulator. It felt more like an arcade style game, and I think that's what I'm trying to get at with how they look and how they move and everything about the way the game looks. It's just more arcade style to me. So I've spent most of this video not really saying great things about NBA Live, and it's hard to tell that I actually am optimistic about this game, because I actually am, surprisingly. See, the thing is, this is an improvement because the last three have been laughingstocks. The reason to me that this game is a step in the right direction is because when I turned it on, I did turn it on with the intention of just laughing, because that's what I always do at NBA Live. Normally I turn on these demos and the players look terrible and they're moving funny and the dribble moves are cringe, and that's what you normally get out of NBA Live. But when I turn on 18, I get the feeling that this game isn't going to be on 2K's level. To me, there still are 2K games for the PS4 that are probably better than NBA Live 18, but even while I was sitting playing the game, I tweeted out, this game is presentable and it's something that I can sit down and I can actually see myself playing. Maybe not as my main NBA game for the entire year, but just as an alternative and a different basketball game, I think that I could see myself having fun with this game, and that's the big step in the right direction, because I haven't felt that way about Live in a very long time. And that's good, because while right now Live is probably not going to be better than 2K for this year, in 2 or 3 years we might be deadlocked if they keep improving on what they're doing, and that's also good because that's going to push 2K. If more people feel the way I do and say, Live is not going to replace 2K, but I'm going to buy it this year, 2 or 3 years down the road with some more development and improving on things that customers are going to talk about, we might have 2 good basketball games again. So I'll give some examples of some positive things. Right now when you look at live, the actual look of the game graphic wise is actually it looks pretty. So you look at like Venice Beach and Rucker Park, the scenery looks nice, and the way the players actually look graphic wise looks nice. And I don't know how many of you noticed, but even when you start the game, their whole animation to begin the game looks pretty nice. So when you turn on the Warriors and Cavs, when they're in their suits and they're getting ready for the game, that whole thing looks improved. As far as the way the game plays, I've already went through numerous things that they're going to have to fix before they're on par with 2K, including the player models and the face scans, but it no longer feels like a 5th grader made the game. And because of that, I feel like I can actually sit down and play this game and get some enjoyment out of it. So this year, I am going to be buying NBA Live along with NBA 2K. But as long as 2K has fixed their AI so I can actually play offline, and they've made some improvements to the gameplay, that is going to be my main game, because as I said when this video started, they're sufficient in the places that Live is lacking, and Live is not yet sufficient in the places that 2K is lacking. One thing I didn't even mention is that of course NBA 2K has the whole Legends thing on lock. As a matter of fact, they went overboard this year. You saw my last video, they added 16 teams and they've added all-time teams, and to be honest with you, I think for the time that I could play an NBA game with no Legends in it, I think that passed a good like 7 years ago when NBA 2K11 came out. That was probably the last time. So I don't know if NBA Live actually can get Legends in the game, but that's one big sticking point. They're gonna have to have those, because I feel like a lot of 2K players, I feel like that's become an important piece of having a basketball game, so they're gonna need that. And I think I'm about ready to wrap this video up. So what I want to say to end this is, if you're an NBA Live fanboy or an NBA 2K fanboy, don't even bother leaving a comment on this video, because at the end of the day, what we want is to have basketball games on the market that are all good, so we can have them push each other and get better, because that just provides a better product for us. When you have NBA 2K existing in a vacuum like it has the last few years, they can be lazy on things. They can have NBA 2K17 come out and release a million patches to fix it because we don't have another option to go to, and then you get the type of situation where we had this year, where 2K17 wasn't any good unless you were playing online, because offline was damn near unplayable. If you actually watch this whole video, you can probably tell that I'm not just pumping up Live, because I believe I said more negative things than I said positive about it. I'm not buying it just to show fake support in hopes that a lot of people will, and then maybe 2K will have a competitor. I'm buying it because I feel like it's a game that I'll be able to enjoy on my off time when I just don't feel like playing 2K. There was a time in my life where I owned multiple basketball games at a time. As a matter of fact, I think there was a time where I used to own 3, and that was a really fun time where you could switch between, and if you had a cousin you like to play basketball games with, you guys could switch between the NBA games, and that was a fun time, and that was about a decade ago. So yeah, 2K is still going to be my main game over NBA Live, because NBA Live is definitely not good enough yet for me to just play that all the time. It's not at that point right now. But if anything, I think for offline, I'm probably going to prefer Live's my career mode to 2K. Now again, for 2K, I do like their My Park feature, and I don't think NBA Live is going to have something as good as that, so I'll stick to 2K for that. But again, that's just the beauty of having 2 basketball games, because for Live, I'll be able to, you know, go through that story mode and enjoy it, and then for 2K, I don't enjoy the cringe dialogue. I've never enjoyed the story mode, so I just use that for online, and that's what it's going to be. So now it's time for you to go in the comment section and let me know what you think about NBA Live 18. If you think it's complete trash, that's fine. That's your opinion. Go ahead and leave it. If you played the demo and you feel like I do and feel like it's in at least a step in the right direction, then tell me about that, and definitely tell me what you think about the gameplay. It would have been nice for NBA 2K to not have been hiding their game, because I don't really have a great measuring stick for it for NBA Live 18. I was just kind of going off of what NBA 2K is known for, so hopefully we know something about that soon, and maybe we can get a good measuring stick before the games come out. Anyways, that's all I got for you guys today, so if you enjoyed the video, hit like, comment, and subscribe, and make sure to hit the bell next to my name if you want notifications on future videos. I'm Dom2K, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching.